Hi, my name is LoriRoach. I'm doing my micro teaching project on help. I'm an English teacher, how to handle a paper load. I have with me today two graduate students that are grading, one who is grading across content. We're going to talk about how to mutually share English grades with, he's a history graduate student. And then Ryan, she's also a graduate student grading English papers. And then Mr. Macy here, he's also teaching across content. He has a real creative way to lessen the burden of grading. I want to begin with a Christian note. One of the reasons that I have chosen this topic is because it really hit home for me. I chose to teach science when I saw the English teachers carrying all of these papers around. Mathematically, I didn't see how they were possibly making money at the end of the day when they graded 3 hours, leaving at 6 or 7 o'clock at night. I was actually just substituting, but I felt like this is never going to work for me. I was really encouraged by what I found here, and I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. Is you have to be healthy. You have to be mentally rested. You have to be fit. You need to eat right, drink lots of water, maybe not over-caffeinate, get outside, get exercise. And I hope that some of the tips that we have here today will give you more free time to do that. So to review, God is your first priority. Your fitness, your health is your second priority. Take care of yourself so you can take care of someone else. This is a caring profession. It tends to bring a lot of us caregiving type personalities out of the woodwork. And one of the things that we're not good at is saying no, and then we might resent it later. So setting up boundaries is really important. And managing your classroom is part of that process. If you have a student who's not being disciplined, if you have writing projects that are not being turned in, the students just don't want to learn. I'm going to go over some of the samples of information that I've collected here to try to keep it more fun, but also fun for us. And Mr. Macy has a good idea about one thing that we can do. We've got the Common Core. We can't do anything about that. We need to embrace it. And the rubrics that are in the Common Core, we need to use our own rubrics and share what we expect with the students. And if you could, I like your idea about what you're doing.
Well, what I found out when I started teaching English Comp especially, grading papers took forever. There's just so many different factors you had to take into consideration while grading each paper. So what I started doing was having the students actually read their papers verbatim in front of the class. And while they're doing that, I'm comparing that to my rubric as they do, taking notes, and then later I can go through the paper and look at the paper itself and make sure the formatting is correct and that their punctuation is correct, that they're grammatically correct, and that they've properly listed their references. And one thing I've found out in my years of teaching is I've watched the generations progress, is this generation has a hard time with public speaking. They're speaking to their peers. Almost all their communication these days is through text or Instagram or pictures. So by making them get up in the front of the class, there's resistance at first. They don't really care for it, but then we make a game out of it. Everybody has to do it. Everybody has their turn in the barrel, and sometimes I'll get up and go first. And just to kind of set an example of what I'm looking for. This gives them the confidence to speak in front of their peers. And something else we've done is to introduce them to new technology. Sometimes we get teleprompter equipment, and they can take their essays or their papers with their writing, and they can learn how you set that up in a teleprompter and actually use that as they're speaking to the class. And then they learn how to maintain eye contact and not have to have their head buried in their papers. So hopefully this way it has tremendously decreased the amount of time that I have to spend going over each individual paper, and we're building them skills for success.
Thank you. And how I mentioned that we don't like to share our workload. We feel like we have to do it all. Something cool is happening in the graduate studies here. Can you talk about what you're doing in your history class?
Yes, so when I'm teaching the Common Core of history, what I have them do is write a history essay or play a memory game a day before the test, and I only check the historical part about the essay, and then I pass it to the English teacher, and she'll grade the grammar/format, and this puts less stress on both sides. so you have more time with your family and God. So.
Cool, thank you. And then you get the paper, and you wouldn't know what he taught in history, so what do you get to use it for?
When I get the paper, I get to check and make sure that all the Common Core that I'm required to cover is being reflected in the students, and they're understanding the grammar or the spelling or the vocabulary that we're covering that semester or that week.
And essentially, you could take it down the hall one more time and have the students speak.
And we could have them present it in front of their peers.
Very cool. See how much time you could save by working with other people. I don't know why we as teachers are so hesitant to share our workload, but versus quitting, the shortages show that we burn out. And here's an alternative for you. One other thing that we can do to make it more fun for us, for the students, and still teach writing, English, grammar, mechanics, syntax, all of the things that we're required to teach, is and sharing, delegating. We can have something called Freaky Friday. I learned this online, and the teacher who taught this, it will be available to you. What she does is she trades assignments with another English teacher. So your class doesn't know who's grading their paper. They just know that they're equally graded by somebody who doesn't know them, so that the fairness exists. The same fairness that they think doesn't exist with electronic grading, or maybe if the names were on all the papers and you had a really sad paper and your heart went into it, because you know we do. This goes faster, and this is what it's all about, really, is grading faster. We get paid more that way. The kids get their feedback faster. We stay healthier. We go home at 6, and we get to go to church on Sunday. Thank you much. I really enjoyed talking to you, and I hope you learned something.